From Omeros by Derek Walcott. Chapter 32, Part 1. She floated so lightly, one hand, frail as a swift, gripping the veranda. The cotton halo fanned from her shrunken crown, and I felt that I could lift that fledgling, my mother, in the cup of my hand, and settle her somewhere else, away from the aged women rubbing rosaries in the Marian home. But I was resigned, like them. I no longer raged at the humiliations of time. Her turn had come to be bent by its weight, its indifferent process that drummed in wrist and shank. Time was that fearful friend they talked to, who sat beside them in empty chairs, as deaf as they were, who sometimes simply listened. They were all withdrawn. They'd entered a dimension where every thought was weightless, every form clouded by its ephemeral halo. Time's intention, rather than death, was what baffled them. In the deed of dying there was terror, but what did time mean? After some friend stopped talking, and around her bed they opened the panels of an unfolding screen. The frail hair grew lovelier on my mother's head, but when my arm rested on her hollow shoulder, it staggered slightly from the solicitous weight. I was both father and son. I was as old as her exhausted prayer, as her wisps of memory floated with a vague patience, telling her body, wait. When all that brightness had withered like memory's flower, like the alamanda's bells and the pale lilac bougainvillea vines that had covered our gabled house, they, like her natural memory, would not come back. Her days were dim as dusk. There were no more hours. From her cupped sleep, she wavered with recognition. I would bring my face closer to hers and catch the scent of her age. Who am I? Mama, I'm your son. My son. She nodded. You have two, and a daughter, and a lot of grandchildren, I shouted. A lot to remember. A lot. She nodded as she fought her memory. Sometimes I ask myself who I am. We looked at the hills together, at roofs that I knew in childhood. Their names are Derek, Roddy, and Pam. I have to go back to the States again. Well, we can't be together all the time, she said. I know. There is too much absence, I said. Then a blessed lucidity broke through a cloud. She smiled. I know who you are. You are my son. Warwick's son, she said. Nature's gentleman. His vine leaves haloed her now.